Hey guys, welcome to Black Republican Theory. This is Terry, your host. So, on today's show, we're going to talk about the rising inflation and the continuously rising interest rates, probably more so with the focus on the rising interest rates and what they affect. So, last week, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said, hey, it's worth a slowdown in growth and risking a recession in order to, get inflation under control. And by that, with that justification, he's using that as a justification to to get inflation under control. It's his justification for continuously raising the interest rates. So the problem with raising interest rates is that it makes it harder and more expensive for businesses to borrow money. And when businesses cannot borrow money, or it makes it harder for them to borrow money, it makes the cost of doing business in all other sectors, including, just everything from buying the next season of goods in the retail sector to, borrowing money to do construction in the home improvement sector. Everything becomes a little bit more expensive when you're raising the interest rates, and that has an adverse effect on the consumers on the back end. And, hence people, they stop their spending as well. And so he's saying, hey, it's in order to get interest rates, in order to get inflation under control, is worth raising the interest rates. Now, and again, it makes it harder to borrow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the back end effects of that is that you have businesses that are now planning for a recession. They're planning ahead to 2023. They're planning ahead to 2024, where there might be a possible recession. Now, by the internationally recognized definition, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, we are already in a recession, guys. Where when you have two or more quarters of contracting growth, that is a recession. Okay, and so we are already in a recession, and for most of America, particularly those on the lower incomes, at the lower income scale, you're already in a recession. We have already been feeling a recession. It's just that the rich people and the elites, they're so wrapped up in their bubbles that they have not felt it yet. And so, or if they have felt it, they've only felt it mildly versus having to buy, a chai latte, whatever. They're going to buy the soy latte or something. Or versus going out to go get their coffee, they got to make it at home. Those are slight inconveniences. And so, but the real effects is that when you have people who are not at the upper echelon, who are not at the elite, and they're working for companies, they're working for governments, etc., they're getting fired. They're getting terminated by, people, by companies who are already planning ahead in the budget process for the next years. Okay, and so when you have more people fired, it comes to a story like the one I read today with Neil. I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong. Kashkari. He's the president of the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis, where he said basically, hey, black unemployment is double that of the normal unemployment is double that of the national unemployment rate. Now, we know this to already be true, and I'm just going to tell you, in parts of Baltimore, the black unemployment rate is actually probably 4 and 5 times the national unemployment rate, particularly among black men and in some of these zip codes that are the most impoverished. And so in Baltimore City, for example, is the only city in urban area listed on the national, what is it called, the persistent poverty list, but also it's a list of the top 50 counties with the most poverty. Most of those are rural, and most of those are white. Okay, but Baltimore is the only black majority place that has that distinction. Urban black majority place that has that distinction. So that being said, when you look at the effects of what a raising the interest rates will have on local economies, particularly like Baltimore City, you're going to see a slowdown in growth of people building houses or rehabbing houses. You're going to see a slowdown in growth of businesses hiring. Yeah, you might see hiring now signs everywhere, but that's for the seasonal businesses such as retail. Now we move on to, well, if you're going to raise the interest rates, you're not going to, slow down anytime soon. Well, what are the alternatives, and what other options can you do to pair it with, maybe this whole interest rate, rising the interest rates? Well, you can maintain. The first one is you can maintain the current interest rates versus raising them continuously on a quarterly basis. You can maintain them. Pause. Hey, stop. We're going to stop raising the interest rates, and we're going to pause for just a second. And we're going to go ahead and allow the private sector to keep on doing the business that they're doing, to recuperate, to catch their breath a little bit. While you're doing that, on the policy end, aka on the what are the tools in the current presidential administration toolbox, is that we can actually begin to cut funding. Right now, we're at over $40 billion going to foreign countries like Ukraine to fight wars that have nothing to do with us, in supporting, groups that have nothing to do with American interests. With $40 billion, you can help stimulate the American economy. You can go ahead and give it to some of these small cities and towns and help them rejuvenate. You can go ahead and put it into different parts of the private sector and help them, recuperate and catch their breath as well. Well, alternatively, if we don't do that, we keep on, with the increased amount of spending that we're doing, and we keep on raising the interest rates, you're going to keep on having a persistent inflation problem and possibly even stagflation. I don't think that inflation is going to even out into about 2024, maybe 2025. And even then, the prices will stay just about the same. And so, guys, how can you best fight this? The best thing you can do to fight this is to go ahead and start investing. Invest your money now. Invest it in funds that are index funds, ETFs that are tracking the S&P 500. Invest in commodities such as oil, gas, etc. We see that gas prices are back on the rise. Invest in retail. Some people are not a big fan of retail. I like investing in health, oil and commodities, retail, and ETFs that track the S&P 500. I think that is a good strategy. That is a good strategy to fight and combat the rising inflation rates, because guess what? People are always going to have to buy these things or buy something, and as they do, the value of your investments go up. It's becoming more expensive for you to actually save money unless you're taking that money and you're building an emergency fund. You're building, your retirement fund. You could save money in that way, but otherwise you should be investing in money. All right, guys. So thank you. This has been the Black Republican Theory. I just wanted to post a morning update, and thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye.